All right, NFTs. At the very least, I want to be able to give everybody an exact date on our release. The exact date that the public will be available to purchase the NFTs is 2 weeks from this Monday. Because this is a weird number of days in the month, I would actually have to look at a calendar real quick to tell you guys the exact date of that. But 2 weeks from this Monday is when the public will be available to get theirs. At that point in time, the community pre-sale holders that are still holding their bag will have already received their NFTs. The DApp, the minting page, website, and the NFT engine will all have been up and running and tested before the public gets theirs. We'll do like a little test by having all of the pre-sellers go ahead and claim theirs. That'll be like our mainnet function test. They'll claim their NFTs at no charge, of course. 2 weeks from this Monday, or from tomorrow. That gives me and the team time to go ahead and start to build our marketing campaign, do our marketing push, as well as do a bunch of testnet testing on all these individual pieces. A lot goes into this. I didn't just want to simply get out one NFT line just for this single NFT line. I wanted to make sure that we had everything in place that I can continuously drop different lines and as well offer product services for additional projects, mint NFTs for them, and provide node services for additional projects in case they need to do their own NFT minting. So I went a little bit robust on the back end of things, but it sets us up for a lot of the stuff that we need to do in the future, such as our NFT claw machine. I wanted to make sure that we had the pieces in place that when the time comes and I need to add an additional contract to my array, provide additional NFT lines, I can do that quickly and easily with just one simple contract addition. And hopefully, here very soon, I'll be able to make some announcements with some additional project partnerships specifically built around NFTs and some more utility. Even beyond ever reflecting what we're doing with those guys. We have a couple other project partners that are as well implementing some pretty cool functions that I don't think too many people have seen before. So alone, just what we'll be bringing into our ecosystem and our space will be exciting and hopefully grab some attention. But in addition, you guys know me, I love innovation. So being able to be a part of something a little bit different from what everybody else is doing is always exciting for me. And we'll have more information on that coming shortly. Something that we wanted to add on as an additional perk to this initial NFT line is that we have not just project partners, but as well brand partners already in the works that will have exclusive NFT galleries. So their typical ask in order for you to be able to make a purchase of their NFTs for you to hold their tokens. Well, we're trying to work out a system, and I say trying, we definitely will. If their NFTs are listed on our platform, and we already have influencer partners as well as project partners that will be listing on our platform. If they have any stipulations on their NFT for a whitelist capability, that whitelist stipulation will need to be waived for our NFT if they plan on having that listed through our email. So if you have a project that you plan on purchasing an NFT, for instance, and they're running whitelist spot giveaways, and they've chosen to be listed through the MBC ecosystem, we would account for, I think I would have to double check. I looked like 2 days ago, but I think it's 52. I think there's 52 NFT eligible NFTs for that specific. Oh, sorry. Actually, well, there's more. There'd be anybody who purchases one. So I might need to work on that exact function, how that will work within. But we will work it out to where we have exclusively built galleries that holding one of our NFTs will waive a requirement from them if they have a requirement held, if that makes sense. In particular, I have one project in mind. I just can't mention the name quite yet until everything's inked out, but it will show as a example of exactly what I mean by that. And it's just an additional perk to you're always being whitelisted for MBC NFTs. Alrighty. And again, the official public sale release date will be 2 weeks from this Monday. If you are entitled to an NFT, the form will be available for you at some point in the next 3 days for you to fill out. And as soon as that's filled out, I'll get everybody cataloged. I'll get the numbers together, and I'll start to get those out as soon as they're available to get out. But we'll get everybody their NFTs in hand before we go public with the rest of them. And as well, I'll hope that encourages people who receive those to hopefully go out and share them with the public and help build up that momentum behind it. We will use our funds, the team's funds, to push a marketing wave around these NFTs just to try to build up a little bit of hype around them, hopefully get some attention on our project as well, and get some good chart action. Either way, I'm definitely excited to be moving forward with this. I apologize about the delays. I think all in all, the timing will work out fine. Not this week, but the week after that, I'll be holding that event, the next roundtable event, and that'll give me a good opportunity as well to do like a last minute push towards the public on the NFTs and try to get some more attention on them and what we're doing there. Alrighty, guys. Does anybody have any questions about our NFTs? I did go with the Meta Rangers name. I was getting down to the wire, and I had to make purchases of certain items. And by making these purchases, I had to like pick the name for sure. So because I wanted to grab a different URL, different website, stuff like that, to set up all the back end stuff on, and I decided that there was enough other people that enjoyed the name, and I don't know why, but like, just like an inner child in me immediately was just like, oh yeah, I love Rangers, and I thought Power Rangers. I'm not gonna lie, but so I just thought it was a good name, so I did go with that. I can't believe I never thought before about the whole like no girl thing. I never even thought about it before, and I feel bad that we did not introduce a girl. But in my defense, you can take that up with Cody. That's on him. Anyways, is there any questions about the NFTs or the process of how that will? I can't figure out. There you go. You're invited. And you're invited.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
Doing good, man.
That's good, man. Good to hear from you. One question though: what is going to be the price that the general public is going to be charged for them NFTs?
$75.
All right. Can we convert that to?
I was going to say, did you want that price given to you in B&B or in NBC?
No, I was going to say if it's in because I mean, let's convert that to Mexican pesos, please.
Okay. No. Yeah. I mean, in 75 is the number I say right now. I've also toyed with 65. I don't know why. Like 75 almost seems a little too round of a number, and like 65 almost seems like that much better of a deal, even though it's only $10. But do you know what I mean? Like, does anybody else get that? Because I think like 65 sounds so much more of a bargain, even though it's not that far off from 75. I don't know
60,
what that is in my brain, but yeah.
64.99 cap there.
Yeah, 64.99. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like like the key behind these NFTs really was in the beginning and really is still now more around engagement. What what the capital from the NFTs will just turn around and do is just go literally directly towards marketing. The team currently is set up now and will continue to be set up to run us out as far as development goes on like um, version 1, 2, and 3 of our products as far as the wallet and vault goes and the lobby itself. Our cost is covered there up and through that development. I've already paid the VR dev. He works full time for us. I've already paid the additional dev, auxiliary dev. He works part time for us. I do all of the in between development work. And then we have 2 modelers that just came on board that are just like contracted and I pay them as I go. So all of that cost is essentially covered. There will be additional like administrative costs and stuff like that that'll come up as we go. I'll continue to build and add to our server loads, and as that goes on, that does have like some growth costs there. But outside of that, most of the capital that's raised from the NFTs itself will just turn around and go into marketing and to additional liquidity funds for the project itself, as well as start to build our bridging pools for our NFTs. So we can take our NFTs off chain and bring other NFTs on chain.
Will there be any charges for the pre-sellers that's held on for the NFTs? Any gas fees? Or it's going to be ETH or
No. All of that will be covered. There's no charge at all for the pre-sellers that held on to receive their NFT. If for some reason I cannot airdrop the NFTs and you have to claim them through a claim window, the reason why I'm suggesting that is just because of the randomization process. Um, Anyways, if that's how that works, that's how that turns out, then I can feed the gas through and just turn it on and allow you to pay to your wallet gas cover on contract. So,
now on if we decide to purchase these, well, it'll be MBUSD coin or MetaBUSD coin, right?
no, it'll actually be in BNB. If you're purchasing this first line, it'll be in Binance Smart Chain, that 20
Okay.
token.
Cool.
I'll be able to turn the the DApp onto any other token and currency that I want that's on the Binance Smart Chain. So at some point, if we want to accept MBC, we will. But for at least a time period, we do want to raise some capital. So it'd be nice to be able to raise a spendable capital from at least this first line. And then we're talking about the second line, having that be done with MBC and then turn that around to fund either exchanges or to fund the liquidity pools for like the staking and the farming to keep that going at higher percentages as we grow. We'll have to provide more and more liquidity, and we have to come up with that liquidity somehow. We do have the vested tokens that will unlock, but hopefully we continue to raise capital and we're buying those tokens off and feeding those back into the liquidity pool, stabilizing our price and actually raising it through time.
Any of the profits going to be allocated to a burn of the coin?
Yeah. We're gonna be. I'm trying to right now do a $10 trillion token burn, but the only way I will do that burn, I think I've mentioned it before, is if I'm able to actually see the equivalent liquidity. So, I essentially it would be buying against the liquidity and burning at the same time. I'll be burning twice as many tokens, but the price won't move, if that makes sense. I hope it does. You've removed the supply, so the token itself is valued higher. Um, and by buying against the liquidity, you stop the market price, the market cap from falling. So the market cap itself is falling, but it's going up with the token itself. So I guess it will raise the price floor just a hair. Everybody's price would go up. Yes. And my number in mind right now is 10 trillion. I don't know what the value of that is currently. If I had to guess, it's probably $20,000, maybe 25,000, somewhere around there. But again, that's literally just a guess. And if I looked at the price, I could probably tell you, but I have not looked at the price recently. But yeah, I think it's probably around there, $25,000. And that's completely reasonable. Oh, that is something else that is important that I should mention to everybody. Um, we have decided to change the parameters around the NFT themselves. Before, I think I told everybody that we would be minting 1,000 NFTs. We have doubled that number. We will be minting 2,000 NFTs available on this first line. With that, we are going to change the max wallet hold on the NFTs. I'm not sure where we'll set that. Um, we're just not sure on whether or not it's going to be 3 or 4. Does that make sense? But we're kind of just talking in the background about that now. That's something that I'll be able to change at any point in time as well. So if we felt like we needed to raise that limit for any reason, we could raise that limit. The idea, though, is that we shouldn't have to raise that limit. I don't want the same couple people purchasing a lot of the NFTs. That's great. I love, if you do love the project and you love the NFTs, purchase them. Free as you will. I just don't want somebody to be able to quickly sweep a lot of them all to themselves and then create some type of weird market on them. I don't know. I'm not real, I'm not a big, huge NFT guy, so I'm not sure how all that stuff works out, but I know how it works out with tokens. So I'll try to play it as safe as I would if I was doing a token. Anyways, is there any other questions that anybody has?
No, I got nothing. Great update. I'm sure that's going to be very well received. Thank you.
Awesome. I apologize that it's, even still another 2 weeks out. Realistically, it's probably not. But at this point, I just want to set a date that's a little bit further out than what I think it's going to be and then stick to that date just to have a date to promote. To actually try to push people towards and maybe have a little bit of hype behind it. I don't want to do a pre-sale or anything like that, though, if that makes sense. I don't think it's necessary. So I just want to release them, have them available to purchase, have it done just smooth like that. Hopefully they sell out. If they don't sell out, then we'll push them until they do, and we'll just go from there. I'm just happy to continue pushing the journey along.
Sorry, just
that
to clear up one thing. You said it was 2 weeks from Monday, so the 7th of March.
I honestly, if that's what the calendar says, then yes. I am just not sure. Is there 28 days in this month? I guess now. Yeah, it's 28 days. So yeah, 7th of March should be correct. Yes. Now, VR. I always like to give an update on VR. Right now, what we have been doing as far as the VR team goes is we are still working on just that first MLM room for VR chat. But again, we're building all these assets from scratch. That way, whenever we move from VR chat into the MBC lobby, which is a lot larger, a lot more robust, and a lot more difficult to build and to open to the public. So we're using a lot of um, in-house features from VR chat while we're there. And again, we'll be building the same features into our space, but in the meantime, the individual room that we're all hanging out in, we want it to be our room. So we're literally designing the room from the ground up, making all of the assets individually. And as soon as we move from VR chat into our own space, we will move that room and all of its assets with us. So it'll look and feel the exact same as it does now. And we can continue to have ongoing development and have input from the community within that space. And say, like, we're having one AMA and somebody's like, hey, I want to see this the next time we're in here. Why don't we have a bubble machine or something? They're like, yeah, you're right. Why don't we have a bubble machine? So the next time we have the AMA, now we have a bubble machine. And whenever we move from that space to our own space, then we move that stuff with us and it's ours. You know, it's owned by the project. We are still diligently working on that. I do not have a set in stone date when we will be moving into there. It's a lot sooner than later, though. I will say that much. That's like my personal top wish list item currently. The NFTs are kind of squared away, compartmentalized, taken care of. We know exactly what's going on there. We know the timeline there. We know what's going to happen there. I now want to get a solid timeline for you guys on this. We'll call it two stages. Stage one, AMAs in VR in our individual room. And then stage two would be VR wallet beta release. Again, the first release that I'll have out will be a beta. We'll all need to get in there, test it out. I'll need as many testers as possible. And we'll only be functioning with MBC, our own individual token. Now, look, guys, I've got the full node already set up. I literally watch and track every single transaction that's carried out over Binance Smart Chain. I have full access to the entire blockchain. We can do any token we want to with anything. For security purposes, we will test this out with our own token and our own ecosystem. And as soon as we feel comfortable and ready, we'll start to open it up to all of our project partners, all the guys that we know and work with. In the meantime, in the background, we are currently developing assets for larger projects. For instance, just to give you guys an example, we have like a generic token coin that's a representation of any BEP20 token. That'll look like a gold piece. But for individual tokens like NBC, I don't want to just have the same generic token in VR that this other guy has. So of course, we've got like our own trendy, looks like our logo, looks like a coin. It's like an NBC coin. The same thing for our project partners that we are currently working with. We'll make sure that they have really cool, really nice assets pre-built for them just for being a part of our team and our ecosystem. And then, as well, all the ones that you know and love, that everybody does. Everybody holds a little bit of SafeMoon. We'll make sure that we go ahead and we try to build as many assets out for SafeMoon as possible. We want to make sure that whenever their community comes around or anything like that, they feel engaged. They feel like they have a place there too. So SafeMoon, Evergrow, all the big names that we all, again, hold ourselves, we all know, we all love. We'll make sure that there's assets for those communities pre-built in those spaces. And those are already in development. We won't open up the wallet to those tokens initially, just because, again, we're security and safety purposes. Immediately, as soon as we go into beta, you'll be able to trade. You'll be able to send these tokens from person to person and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that we're trying to control the ecosystem and process as much as possible until, just with all honesty, we have enough confirmation from enough industry insiders that everything that we're doing is safe and secure. And then as soon as we have that feedback, we have those audits, we can get that all shut down, we feel comfortable with it, we'll then expand that ecosystem out to, again, every token possible. The same way that the current MetaMask or Trust Wallet operates is the exact same way your VR wallet will operate. It'll just be a little restricted starting out. Alrighty, guys. Is there any questions about any of the VR stuff?
Am I going to be able to have my own room with like 20 monitors where I could just sit there and trade crypto and I can get rid of all the stuff on my desk and just have a headset on?
Yeah, absolutely. So the cool thing about that is all of those functions are currently exist and are open source. So that's one of those things that we actually already have done. It is just in our open space now that we have, but we will port that into individual areas. So you'll be able to create like what's known as like a little bubble, and your own little bubble within like the lobby would be a private room that you can invite people over into, or you can just remain private. And in that room, you'll be able to actually one of two things: either create just virtual browser windows. And again, it gets a little technical because as far as the virtual browser windows go, we're not gonna have that open to everybody initially. A lot of you OG NBC holders will all get it because you're gonna all be joining the lobby early on, doing like beta testing and stuff like that. So you guys will get that function. But like your general user off the street will not actually get to open their own browser. That's something that we're gonna sell to people and also allow them to like earn access to get it. Anyways, so you'll have two options though. You'll be able to open your own browser window that's just like a Chrome browser now, just in a virtual space, and it looks 2D. Or you'll be able to remote desktop. So you can bring in your PC from your house or your room. You'll be able to bring that PC to life in VR. You will still sit at that PC, if that makes sense, or control that PC. And you can do that in a number of different ways. There are ways of controlling that PC through a virtual keyboard, virtual mouse. So you can do it all in VR and not have any hand-on experience with the PC itself. That being said, you can also currently add a workspace to your area. And by doing so, you will be able to actually augment your PC area in your real life room. So whenever you get close to that PC, it shows you that you're in front of it. It then allows you to like sit at your desk and get yourself situated. Once you've sat down, it changes the type of mapping that is used in VR. Initially or organically, you're using a room scale boundary. Whenever you get to your chair, you would then switch to a stationary boundary. You get into that place, and depending on your hardware, you can purchase a couple of different keyboards that allow you to actually view your virtual keyboard where your real keyboard is. You actually see your hands hovering over the keyboard in a virtual space, and so on and so forth. Or you don't have to do that. You can just use a regular keyboard and know how to type home row keys and just type hands or eyes free. But those are options that are currently publicly available. The code and everything is all open source. So that's stuff that we've already ported over into our own virtual space. So long answer, or long story short is yes, you'll be able to cast multiple browser windows and stuff like that all within your space. You could even split the computer power between your PC and the Oculus itself, or you can go full PC, full Oculus, your choice. Depending on what you're doing, you'll be restricted to some degree on what the capability is on your end, if that makes sense. A lot of services, obviously, they're, the heavy lifting per se is done on the back end now over the cloud. So you won't run into too many issues. But occasionally there is something that you might try to do on like the Oculus end only, and you'd be surprised how limited that computing power is. The Oculus Quest 2 itself is just like a cell phone in a really cool case. Anyway, is there any other questions? Just ask me another one about VR and we can stay on here for another 30 minutes. I'm so sorry I give those such long-winded answers, but it's almost always to some degree complicated when you're talking about VR. Everything is moving so fast and it's all coming together very, very quickly. I do think that we're still like a solid year away from like everything really clicking into place and like it going like full mainstream. We're so much closer now than we were like 4 years ago. It's so much closer. But I do think that we have a little bit further to go. Unification amongst software and platforms needs to happen, as well as a few more small leaps in technology need to all happen, and one of them being specifically built around like the 5G connectivity, and if not, even the next generation of connectivity, as well as cloud computing, cloud gaming. One of the very first things that I did whenever I bought my first Oculus is I had Google Stadia. I don't know if anybody else here experimented with Google Stadia. It's actually not bad at all. It's actually like really nice for a cloud gaming service. I'm not even sure if it's still operational because I stopped using it, but I did use it early adopter to that service as soon as it came out. I bought the Pro controller and everything. Anyways, so that was really cool though. You could just throw on your Oculus headset and you could pull out a controller and you could play AAA style games anywhere you wanted to on the go. Well, you know, at the time, whenever Stadia first came out, it was highly restricted as far as like the type of internet connectivity that you had to have and stuff. Now those restrictions have been lifted quite a bit, so now I think you can, as long as you just have internet connection, you can try. I should give it a shot again. But that's the type of technology that needs to continue to get pushed forward and keep moving in order for VR and XR to really like continue to ramp up and continue to take off. Because we really do just need to have like an ultranet where everything's connected and all connected at an extremely high speed, and everything's done on like a server level, and everything's computed that way for the end user, because everything's moving so quick for us that we don't have time to like go out there, get the specialized hardware, and build special machines just for this one experience, and then so on and so forth. That's the barrier of entry for so many people, just unreal. Not even from like a expensive standpoint. I'm just talking about from a technical standpoint and like the learning curve behind it. So hopefully, all of those things continue to fall in place, which I think they are, and I think everybody else is betting pretty heavy right now that they are falling into place. I know Apple is, as well as some other really large, big names. And as long as they do continue to fall in place, then here very soon we will have the type of small utopia, at least that I dream about, where you are able to connect at 1 gigabyte upload and download speeds all the time, and you're able to process high-end graphics and data quickly, easily, anywhere from any device. All the computing being done on the back end, and just you fulfilling a data feed and working out a few latency issues through software gimmicks. I think we could get there very, very quickly, and I hope we do. Anyways, any other questions? Alrighty, guys. Thank you all very much for joining me this evening. Again, the hard public date will be 2 weeks from this Monday. I'll get Nick to put out some tweets about it, and I'm going to get some media made up here in the next few days. Thank you all very, very much. I will be available through chat, and I will hold another AMA tomorrow afternoon, probably earlier around 1 p.m. EST. Thank you.